Welcome back to Saturday Morning Glory, and I can't believe I'm saying these words, but I would like to talk to you about My Little Pony.
You're going to love it!
We'll see. Back in 1983, Hasbro, mostly known at the time for toys aimed at boys, branched out into a girl-oriented line called My Little Pony. It consisted of ponies with weird spots in their hindquarters, and from what I subconsciously learned as a kid while zoning out on the ads, you could comb their hair. Oh, could you ever comb their hair? It seems combing pony hair was what little girls in the 80s lived for. In addition, the toy line had a cartoon series based on it, apparently set in a post-apocalyptic age where ponies are the dominant species. As a matter of fact, it had 2 series based on it, and something like 15 movies that went direct to video. Being a boy, this was obviously stuff I wasn't meant to be interested in, so I knew nothing about it. I didn't know the premise, I didn't know the characters, and I didn't know any of the storylines. And to be honest, I'm still pretty content to keep it that way. So last year, when Lauren Faust of Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends started work on a new My Little Pony show with the subtitle Friendship is Magic, I was just vaguely aware of it, in the same way I'm vaguely aware of anything involving cartoon ponies. I figured like everything else in the My Little Pony universe, it would fizzle out quickly and return to obscurity where it belonged. Then something very, very strange happened. The show earned a fan base, like a really hardcore fan base, consisting mostly of guys in their 20s, who call themselves Bronies, and they're not being ironic about it. Suddenly, Friendship is Magic is the kind of show you mock at risk to your own life, because these people have a level of devotion that honestly kinda scares me. Take this character. Her name is Derpy Hooves. She delivers the mail. She's good at her job despite being completely insane. She loves muffins, constantly cleans out the fridge of her friend Carrot Top, and has a daughter named Dinky. And absolutely none of what I just described has ever been mentioned in the actual show. She's just a random unnamed background character who had crazy eyes as the result of an animation error, and as far as I can tell, the Bronies just woke up one day and decided all of that was her backstory. And pretty much every other background character has gotten the same treatment. I like to keep an open mind about these kind of things, so I sat down and watched every single episode to date, and I can officially say, I don't get it. The best I can figure is that everyone had such low expectations that when the show turned out to be not horrible, everyone lost their minds over it. And that's really as far as I'm willing to go on this one. It's a decent show. It's got some good lessons for kids, and they aren't as heavy-handed as some other cartoons. And there's the occasional clever bit of writing. And really, that's it. Frankly, it doesn't deserve the hype. Oh yeah, I said it. Bring it on, Bronies. But even the fans have to admit there are a few episodes with major problems, like Season 1's Over a Barrel. It's basically an allegory for conflicts between American Indians and white settlers in the 19th century. And right there is the main problem with the episode. Genocide is way too complex an issue to handle in 22 minutes. So of course things get simplified to a ridiculous and, to be honest, quite offensive level. Well, make sure your manly points are in a safe place because we're diving into My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. We open with a pony named Applejack on a train transporting one of her farm's apple trees to her cousins out west. Applejack, as you maybe can guess, is the cowgirl pony, because what cartoon for little girls is complete without a character named after a kind of liquor? And even better, there's one episode where she gets shrunk down and is nicknamed Apple Teeny, so there's no way this is just an accident. The first thing we see is her treating the tree like a baby. Yeah, this show can get pretty darn weird for the sake of a joke. This is actually kind of out of character for Applejack. She usually just walks around kicking trees. It's even in the opening credits. Speaking of which...
Big adventure, tons of fun, a beautiful heart, faithful and strong, sharing kindness, it's an easy feat, and magic makes it all complete.
So the credits are, girly. That's really all I can think of to say here. But we do get glimpses of the 6 main characters. The central pony here is named Twilight Sparkle. No, not that one! Jeez! For the record, the name Twilight dates back to the original 80s toys, and as for Sparkle, all Lauren Faust will say is, it passed legal. Here she's the one kids are supposed to identify with, and she has the job of explaining the moral of the story in each episode's Doogie Howser-like ending. At least Season 1 was like that before they realized how many restrictions that put on the writing and actually dedicated an entire Season 2 episode to changing things, so now anyone who feels like it can learn their lesson. There's also Rarity, the upper-class snob, Fluttershy, the nature freak, and Pinkie Pie, who's the main comic relief on a show where pretty much everyone is already the comic relief. As you might imagine, she can be pretty annoying at times, though it's balanced out by her also occasionally being freaking terrifying. Lastly, there's Rainbow Dash, a wannabe stunt flyer who... let's see, how do I put this delicately? Screw it, the fans think she's a lesbian. This is partly because of her tomboyish personality, and partly because of the whole rainbow motif. Allow me to open myself up for even more brony hatred by saying I don't see it. For one thing, I actually think Applejack is more boyish. For another, isn't the show trying to say it's okay for a girl to be a tomboy and it doesn't mean she's gay? Aren't the fans looking for a lesbian subtext, just letting a simple message go right over their heads? You hear that, TV Guide writers? Back in the episode, there's an exterior shot of the train which somehow has a locomotive while also being pulled by horses. How does that work exactly? Oh, and in addition to the 6 main characters, there's Spike, a baby dragon who's basically Twilight's valet. Like I said, this show is weird. He's also voiced by Nier from Death Note of all people.
It's over. You've lost the game.
And he's the centerpiece of the episode's one saving grace, a pretty funny Who's on First style scene with Rainbow Dash as Abbott and everyone else as Costello.
Rainbow Dash thinks Fluttershy's a tree.
I do not think she's a tree.
Did you say she was a tree?
No. Well, yes, but not exactly.
You know she's not a tree, right?
Well, she's not a tree, Dashy.
I'd like to be a tree.
Spike blows up and goes to sleep with the tree.
Well, that was kind of Huffy.
Huffy the magic dragon.
Whoa, is that a reference to, weed? Talk about getting crap under the radar. Actually, I think Applejack has some experience there.
It's so bright and shiny and... I sure do look funny.
The next day, a buffalo stampede attacks the train, including a young buffalo named Strongheart who has a chase scene with Rainbow Dash. And this scene goes on forever, which is weird considering how much story they want to include and how little time they have to do it. And you gotta love how this chase scene across the train cars goes on and on, even though in the establishing shot we saw the train only has 7 cars. Eventually the buffalo get away with the tree and Spike. The train arrives and the ponies meet up with Applejack's cousin Braeburn in...
Appaloosa!
The show loves to make horse puns out of cities. I can't wait for the inevitable trip to Stalliongrad. Braeburn goes on a long, annoying tour of the town mostly made up of more puns, but eventually they get down to business.
Some of our friends are missing.
A stampede of buffalo.
They took Spike! Rainbow Dash went after them!
And we can't find Pinkie Pie.
They can't find Pinkie Pie? When did that happen? She was on the train before the credits, and then she was gone by the time they got off, so what the hell? Did Pinkie Pie jump off a moving train? Of course, if they had cut out a bit of that endless chase scene and some of the tour of the town, they might have had time to explain stuff.
Them buffalo, they want us settler ponies to take every single tree you see here off this land. We put a lot of hard work into this land, so we could feed our town, our families, our foes. And now they're saying all these trees have to go? Tain't fair.
Hey, whoa, this is a show for 7-year-olds. Let's not be talking about taint now. It turns out Pinkie and Rainbow are hunting down the buffalo, but I guess the writers suddenly realize they wasted almost half the episode because they go right to the reveal that Spike has become like C-3PO with the Ewoks. And now prepare to be offended. It's bad enough that the stand-in for Native Americans is a different species than our heroes, but just listen to Strongheart explain their dispute with the ponies.
The settler ponies have overtaken the land and have planted an orchard all over it. Because of their thoughtlessness, we can no longer run over our traditional stampeding grounds.
Which is followed by a scene of the Buffalo Chief Thunderhoof saying the same thing, but taking much longer to do it. So there you have it, all that history about forcing Indians off their land, destroying their food sources, and giving them diseases they had no natural defenses against, all reduced to a dispute over an apple orchard. I realize you don't want to expose 7-year-olds to the horrors of colonialism, but come on! Also, this scene features the return of the same pointless letterboxing effect from Ninja Turtles.
Grief, it's a running gag.
Everyone meets up, and it seems the two sides are willing to compromise, but then Applejack and Rainbow Dash jump in as each side's advocates and make the situation worse. Oh no, this is the great divide from Avatar again, isn't it? And now, something that could have worked if they tried a little harder. Pinkie sings an unbearably sugary song out of nowhere about how everyone needs to get along and share the land.
You gotta share, you gotta care. It's the right thing to do. You gotta share, you gotta
And this is treated as the kind of thing that would have worked on the 80s show, but here it actually gets both sides irritated enough to openly declare war on each other. Kind of a clever idea, but the rest of the episode is so self-important that this attempted irony doesn't work at all. And what's with the Lily Von Shtupp outfit? That's one way to appeal to adults, I guess. And I guarantee you, right now, there is a brony somewhere looking at this and getting turned on. Everyone gears up for battle, and I think this needs more appropriate music.
They're savages, savages, barely even human. Savages, savages, drive them from our shore. They're not like you and me, which means they must be evil. We must sound the drums of war. They're savages, savages, dirty redskin devils. Now we sound the drums of war.
The battle starts, and brace yourselves because the ponies fight with apple pies.
You're kidding. You're kidding, right?
I mean, they basically painted themselves into a corner here. It's like they wanted to educate kids about history and war and stuff, but somewhere along the way they remembered it's a show about ponies. And just in case you're curious, yes, it has been hinted that guns exist in this world.
I need something real fast like a bullet to keep up with me.
And the best part is, once Thunderhoofs gets hit, this happens. He's not dead. It's a pie.
Hey, I've got a much better idea.
So it turns out the buffalo agree to let the orchard stay up in exchange for a path to stampede through, plus unlimited apple pies.
Dear Princess Celestia, friendship is a wondrous and powerful thing. Even the worst of enemies can become friends. You need understanding and compromise.
Or in other words, dear Princess Celestia, all that suffering and death on both sides when we forced the Indians off their land could have been avoided if we just brought along pies. And let me see if I've got this straight. The solution was for the ponies to set aside part of their land while still keeping the majority for themselves. Well, I'm sure that won't lead to anything bad in the future. And in a few years, the orchard will probably look like this. In all fairness, I should point out that this is the extreme low end for quality on this show, and it's probably not a coincidence that it's from the same writer as another of the least popular episodes, Feeling Pinkie Keen. That one's about how scientists should admit that God exists. Seriously, look it up. For the most part, Friendship is Magic is a moderately fun and inoffensive way to kill half an hour. But I swear to you, it's nothing more than that. I have no clue how it attracted the fanbase it has, though the creator's last name gives me a pretty good idea. However, I will say that so far Season 2 has shown definite improvement. There's a new showrunner, the animation's a bit better, and most importantly, they've dropped the edutainment label, meaning there's a lot less restrictions on what they can show. If they want to show Fluttershy snapping a bear's neck, have a cameo by the cast of The Big Lebowski, or even make Twilight look like a creepy pedophile who kills a bird with her horn, they go for it.
Hi, girls!
It's also got John Delancey essentially playing Q again, and how can you say no to that?
I'm not playing fair. Perhaps we haven't met. I'm Discord, spirit of chaos and disharmony. Hello.
But ultimately, what we've got here is a TV show that doesn't live up to its hype. I know, right? I'll end the episode here so you can get over your shock. See you next time on Saturday Morning Glory.
Buffalo soldier, dread like a rasta. It was a buffalo soldier in the heart of America.